Okay, great. So let's get started. Welcome to our quarterly Climate and Culture Subcommittee meeting. I would like to invite Ms. Jennifer Hoff to make any statements if you have any.
None. Welcome to Ms. Cook Henry, and glad to be having these quarterly meetings.
All righty. So today I'll be providing an update on two key initiatives that are happening within the district that, center around climate and culture. Oh, we have somebody else coming in. Coach V is coming in. Hi, Coach V.
How you doing?
Welcome.
Welcome.
And welcome, Ms. Valerie.
Hi.
All righty. So as I was saying when you were coming in, today I'm just going to provide a brief update of two key initiatives that are happening within the district that focus around climate and culture. So I'm going to share my screen now and we'll get into it. Okay. Can everybody see my screen okay? All right, great. Okay, so let me get past the first one. So I'm going to give you an update today on Lakeside, the Lakeside contract, and the Panorama contract, because there's been movement on both of them. So, oh my goodness, I'm trying to get some of this Zoom out of my screen, out of the way of my screen. On August, we are happy to report that the professional development portion of the Lakeside contract was approved, and we have been moving forward in working with the representatives from Lakeside on the August training for the entire district on August 31st. It will be the kickoff to Brain Basics to kind of set the tone and the foundation for professional development and conversations around trauma and climate and, creating a foundation for how we are approaching young people as they are coming back from, as we all know, a very trying year within the, for the world, basically. So we're really happy to have them in partnership. And the topics that they'll be discussing are root causes and concerns for behaviors that may manifest, and equipping people with responses that are effective and also relevant for young people, enabling them to create an environment where they are likely to avoid these behaviors in the first place. So there's some preventative strategies that they'll be teaching our staff in August and all through the year. Subsequent PDs will be happening these are the PD days that are already in our school calendar. And we put subject to change to give us some flexibility in case we have to change dates or in case we have to change dates. But this will be a year-long effort, but it's kicking off August 31st. Then the second piece of this is they also will be giving us access to their learning management system so that our staff can also do like a cyber or a virtual learning as well. So there's additional 8 hours of on-demand training that will be available to our staff. And again, guided by our colleagues at Lakeside to be able to be of support both virtually and in person when they do professional developments throughout the year. And these are some of the topics that the learning system has. So the second part of the professional development proposals from Lakeside, there was a professional development proposal, and then there was a staff support proposal. We recently had a meeting with our union stakeholders to develop the position description that addresses their collective concerns. We are still in the process of having those conversations with the union. We anticipate bringing the contract proposal before the board for consideration at the August board meeting. And just want to highlight that we are working very diligently with our union representatives to ensure that the contract that we have is satisfactory for all, but at the end of the day meets the needs of students. So that's where we are with Lakeside. Before I go on to Panorama, does anybody have any questions about Lakeside? Just going to stop share to give you a chance to ask any questions.
Miss Danielle, I'm just looking at my calendar. So if we approved, like, is there a chance that we could approve that next Wednesday? And would they have people in place to go for September? Or is that looking like the 16th or the 23rd? For that?
That's, well, you know me, I'm Miss Optimistic. Anything is possible. And so in the realm of possibilities, yes, if we can find common ground with our stakeholders, I believe we can do something at the Education Committee meeting. But right now, I don't have any guarantees that that is actually in the realm of possibility. In terms of Lakeside, I've been in constant contact with them. They do feel like if we do approve this in August, and we're talking the August business meeting I'm talking about, if we do, they would be able to have some boots on the ground, maybe not at full force in September, but some boots on the ground, as the proposal is for one person to be at each one of the buildings. So we're talking about 11 people total.
Right. And the contract, I just want to be very clear, is only for 1 year. This is
Correct.
about helping us get through the start of the year and training the trainer for future and helping with the immediate increased need. Correct?
Absolutely, perfectly said.
If there's any way I can help with our stakeholders, let me know, please.
I certainly will, ma'am. Thank you. I appreciate it. Are there any other questions? Okay. I will go back to the presentation and give you a little update on, okay, share. There we go. So let's go to the next one. There we go. Panorama. So we've been talking about Panorama a lot with this group since last year, actually. So I am so happy to report that we are moving forward with this project. We have a project timeline. In August, we're already talking about planning an integration meeting with Panorama. There's been a lot of legwork that has been done to ensure that Panorama connects beautifully with our eSchool to be able to connect the data to flow back and forth within the system. The DCIU IT department has been assisting us and has been amazing on calls and to make sure that we are, ready to implement this ASAP. One of the things that we are prioritizing is the surveying. And so I have been working with my colleagues on the various surveys that we are interested in administering this year. So we're looking at a September, October timeframe for Panorama to build out the system custom for us. And then November, a testing type of timeline where we're getting the kinks out, making sure everything is in there that we want to be in there. And then August through September, we'll also, like almost a dual track of effort, August and December timeframe, we'll be working on development of student surveys and implementation so that we're ready to go. So I'm just like trying to give you a really quick overview of where we're going with Panorama, but things are moving and things are moving fast with Panorama. And that is about it. So I'm gonna stop share again. Does anybody have any questions?
No, that's awesome on Panorama. No, there was, and I can look back through my notes. There was one other piece that didn't seem to connect for eSchool, something that they might have used for PBIS or discipline in the middle school. And one of our psychologists used it also.
Was it a system?
It was Second Step. Was it Second Step?
Second Step is the FCL curriculum that we're using.
Right, and is there like where you can put notes and stuff like that in there?
Not that I know of.
All right, I'll check.
Yeah, let me know because I know that our IT department is working really hard to make sure any systems that we're using connect flawlessly with eSchool. That's an area of focus for them. So if there is a program that you know of that's not connecting correctly, let me know so that they can get on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the name, the male psychologist at the high school.
At the high school, okay.
Yeah, he would know.
I'm sorry, I'm chasing down a pencil. All right,
Go down a
we'll
pen.
connect with him.
That's Matt, right? He's the male psychologist
Matt.
still at Penwood, right? Matt.
Matt, thank
All
you.
right, I'll talk to Matt and find out what's going on there, what issues he's having.
No, and it might have been in the past and it might be solved. I just want to, while we have the opportunity to make sure everything's talking, to make sure that's talking.
Is there any chance we're gonna get is there any chance we'll get like a female? Because I know some of the, girls they mentioned, he's there and all, but they wouldn't necessarily want to talk to him. Is there anybody like a woman that can be the other person? A woman?
For,
The high
I'm not
school-
sure.
He does the whole what he does.
Oh, psychology.
Yeah, some of them.
So
Sometimes they talk about talking to him, but he's a man. That's what I've heard. It's harder to go to him. They need help.
So, Miss Danielle, can you see if they can split a schedule and get a female over there, please?
I'll talk to Gina about it.
Right, because we split buildings all the time, so that's understandable. I wonder, did they go to Dr. Lee and request so?
I don't think they go anywhere.
Okay, so they should. We should empower them to take it up the chain.
All righty.
Or ask any of the principals, if that's possible. Right, because if we didn't have this meeting, that wouldn't have come out, and that's great.
No, the other thing I'm thinking too, I know that Libby's not there anymore, right? And she was a real strong bond with the kids, very strong. And I know also that probably Mr. K is not going to be there again. He's going to move somewhere else. He's doing something else. And he was also a very safe haven for the kids. Everybody spent time in Mr. K's class, and he hasn't even told the kids yet that he's not there right now, that he's taking another position. Those two will be a really big loss, in my opinion, as far as safety, emotional safety for some of the kids who've come to heavily rely on them. And so I'm thinking to myself, I know I've been thinking about this ever since I put it together. Mr. K wasn't going to be and Libby was going to be here.
Do we know who was hired as while she's go on, Coach V. We lost you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just got lost.
So I'm thinking to myself, the person that's going to be taking Libby's place, I'm sure she's already started with the girls. I mean, with all the kids, not just the girls, but all of them. But it's a keen thing that's going to be felt. I'm just making a blanket statement. It's going to be felt that those two people are not at the high school. It's going to be felt.
Well, are you talking about Libby is as the assistant principal?
Yeah, so she's in a different, she's
okay, Libby's an assistant principal.
Coach V is talking specifically.
Yeah, she's in a different building, but she's an assistant principal within the high school.
She's specifically.
I'm sorry, you said you trailed off at the end.
Coach V, I believe, is specifically talking about Green Avenue campus. So
got you. All right.
Do we have a hire for the third assistant principal yet?
I believe they do, but I don't know who it is.
There are, as I understand, Dr. B. Coates just needs to do his final decision.
Oh, good. Okay.
There are two people, I believe, that are recommended, and he just has to make the final.
Great. And
the interview process is over.
Great. And might one of them be a female?
One of them is a female.
Great. So let's, Coach V, let's see how this works out. And I would encourage you to email Dr. Lee and say, hey, this is up, right? I'm sure Ms. Seward will take it back, but
Mhm.
just feel free to communicate this stuff.
I also would like to add, Libby's replacement is Miss Tracy Felder, who is a very strong counselor and has been making wonderful connections with young people in GAC. So I encourage you actually to connect with her as well, because she and Libby are very like-minded. And again, she's had some success, with connections with children, advocating for children. Again, very like-minded, like Libby.
One thing I think might help, and I'll email her. I agree with you, Jennifer. I'll email
Mhm.
her. One of the things, and this is just one of the things I think might really help, if this can be, that if we have an assembly or something, if Libby could kind of hand her kids off, or do some kind of, hey, this is, this is this one. She really cares about you guys. You thought I was something. There's something. Just to get that handoff feel from one grade to another grade, if you will, or potentially grade. And I think they would make the kids feel not so lost and felt like they were seen and heard, and encouraged to move on to this person as your next caretaker, so to speak. And I'm using the wrong words, but y'all know what I'm saying.
But I think the transition is what you're talking about.
Yes.
And it's very helpful, that soft handoff that you're referring to can go a long way.
Yeah, and I do know at the end of ninth grade, and last year might have been different because everything was, that whoever's in that ninth grade position always has those conversations with young people.
Yeah.
This is, they work on their schedules together, they talk about people, right? So yes, and let's, I'm sure that some of that has taken place, but a good reminder for the rest.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I'm sure Libby let her students go without putting them on a strong foothold.
I was going to say, we know she didn't. They did have some type of transition.
And as Dr. B. Coates always says to me, after COVID, nothing will be the same. So I don't know that we'll be gathering 400 students in an auditorium for a minute, right? So we're going to have to think of new strategies. Maybe Ms. Brown could write an email to her students, that is one of the first emails they see, entering their 10th grade year,
Are we doing videos still? Are we doing like how we used to do videos at the school? Hi, welcome. Like, that's a cool way to do it. Virtually, like that, to the classroom. That's a real cool way to do it.
Yeah. So, maybe in the packet that goes home with their schedule, Ms. Brown could write a letter, or maybe a letter from both principals even, together, something like that.
It's exciting. It's exciting the way Lakeside is coming in here. I'm really excited about that. That's so cool that we're going to have maybe one person, like maybe, with us, and then just them developing like that. I'm so excited about that. So very excited. That's going to be so good for the kids.
We're thrilled to have funding to do it. Mm-hmm. We wish it did not take a pandemic to do it and to get us the funding, but we do have to get by the teachers union, because it is only a 1-year situation. We don't have money to continuously fund this. And it's very important that we not have to lay 11 people off in June over, something like that. And nor will we be able to ramp up with that level of speed that Lakeside can bring us.
Correct.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, is there any other comments or questions?
No, just that our education meeting next week is very important. Please attend if at all possible. because
We'll
we
be
will.
presenting there at the education meeting too about what we did with the ICU this year.
All righty.
We're hearing it.
Well, everyone, I believe this is the end of our meeting. So have a great evening and mask up if you choose. We'll be having that conversation at the education meeting too.
Yes, mask up.
Let's
We have
mask
no
up.
one.
Mask up.
Yes, mask.
Because we need you all.
Inside, mask up.
There it is.
This is not a time to mess around. This is
I hear you.
approaching numbers of last July. This is not good.
So we will be having that conversation at the education meeting as well. So thank you all for your time. You have a great evening.
Thank you.
Be well.
Bye.
Bye.